This video is the last Keepa tutorial that you ever need. What is going to follow, it's a coaching session that I had with one of my students and actually one of my childhood friends, James, that I'm currently teaching how to sell on Amazon. So it's 36 minutes. If you cannot actually focus for more than the length of a TikTok, you're never going to be successful. You can click out of this video right now. However, make sure to watch this until the end because I go in depth into everything, and it is literally a coaching session that I do on Keepa that is going to make Keepa and graphs and make everything click, so you will make way less mistake with your purchasing decision with Amazon FBA. So make sure to watch everything until the end. Don't hesitate to ask your questions in the comments. However, James, since he's a total beginner, I repeat, will have most of the questions that you would probably have during the call. So enjoy and start scaling your Amazon FBA business today. Let's look at it together quickly. Okay, you can see my screen, correct?
Not yet. Yes, now I can.
Okay, perfect. So what do you understand about Keepa so far?
So what I understand about it is that basically it shows you the trends over, like you said, it's historical data. So it'll show you like when there's like how much the product cost over time, like if it goes up or down. It'll also tell you the inventory count, like how fast the product sold. And you can also get an idea of, I don't know, I guess the market tendency. Is that what it is? That first graph at the very top? Just as, I don't know, like the category of product. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm speculating.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's look at, like as you see, there's 3 different graphs right there.
Right.
Let's just focus on the first one first, right? So first of all, the thing that you need to know is that on this axis, so if you go through the right, like if you go to the right or if you go to the left, you move through time, right? So you can, whether it's on April 8th, so you can see the price for this product on April 7th, actually, at 5:50 p.m., right? For example, if I go to the left, I go back in the past, for example, March 1st, right there, I can see that the product was at this price on February 28th at 7:22 p.m., right? So this is what it's going to allow you to do, okay? So there's a lot of lines, all right? We're going to remove a lot of them. We're going to go through them one by one. So the first one that is going to end, let me remove, forget about what's below. Let's just focus on this one right there, right? So the first one that I'm going to make appear on the screen right now is the sales rank. Do you remember what the sales rank is? We talked about it shortly.
Yeah, briefly. Like the sales rank basically shows you like how the product is ranking with similar products. Is that it? Or with like, I don't know. I'm speculating, but yeah.
Kind of. So what the sales rank is for every single category on Amazon, they have sort of like a ranking of how fast the product sells, right? The product with a ranking of 1 would be the fastest selling product in that category. Okay. And product number 2 would sell a little bit slower. Like it's pretty much a ranking, right? So the lowest this number is, the faster this product is actually selling. Based on the sales rank, you can infer how fast a product is actually selling. You can get an estimation. One way to do it is to go to junglescout.com/estimator, because they have a free estimator that you can use, right? And you just choose the marketplace on which you are, right? So for example, right there, we're on the US marketplace, right? And this product currently has a sales rank of 1,208. Okay.
Right.
So in that specific category, which is the you can find the category and we're just going to use Keepa. We're not going to use other tools. The category is right here. Okay, so it's clothing, shoes, and jewelry. All right. So
where'd you find that? Sorry.
At the bottom, if you scroll down here, like right on the Keepa, you can see scroll down, this is the current sales rank, 90 days, 90 days average, 365 days average. That's the category, and that below that, it's the subcategory, which is men's athletic socks, right?
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
The category is clothing, shoes, and jewelry, right? So we're going to input this here, and then we're going to input the sales rank. Okay, so if you want to get an idea of how fast it was selling in the last 90 days, you take the average. You can take the current one, but what you need to know is that the sales rank varies throughout the day, right? So it's updated I think it's updated every 15 minutes, right? So it moves a lot during one day, right? So what's good is to take the average. Okay, you can get the average like right there for the 90 days, like the 90 days average, you can get it here. If you go to the data tab, we're not going to go because I don't want it to load. It may take a while. But like you get this data, right? And so let's just use the current one, right? Just for the sake of the example. So it's 1,188. We just enter this here.
Mm-hmm.
And so this sells 34,000 times a month, okay, on Amazon. All right. So
Wow. Mm-hmm.
that's the sales rank. And the sales rank on this first graph, the sales rank will be the green light that you see right, or the green light, the green line, I'm sorry, that you see right there. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect sense. I got you.
Perfect, perfect. So that way you can see the sales rank through time. The reason why you want to, it's important to get an idea of that is because like you want to see if like you want to go back in time, see if the products used to sell slower, see if the product used to sell faster,
Mhm.
especially if it's a product like if it's a seasonal product. So there's a lot of
Right.
products that I have a great example. I think it's called Lepkush, something like this. Right, here we go. So
Mm.
stuff like this is stuff that is seasonal that sells a lot during Christmas, but that does not sell most of the year, like for the rest of the year,
Outside of Keepa.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you would see, and no, there's no real seasonality here. Let me find something else. Um, let's take this. Okay, let's take a jacket, a puffer jacket. What you would see usually, there you go, with
No,
something
no,
like this.
winter months, fall months,
Yeah,
winter months.
winter months is going to sell way faster, right? So what you expect to see is that during the winter months, it actually goes down, and this is what we see, right? So if we look at the yearly view, right, at the like the 263 days of history we have, we
Right.
see that it was selling slowly during the summer, right? And it
Mhm.
starts speeding up a lot until December, and then it's slowly going up, right? Then it went down a little, I guess, because it
Mhm.
was cold fronts, whatever, but it's slowly going up again, right? If you look
Can
at
I
the,
ask the question? Can I ask the question?
go
So
ahead.
just to confirm, the lower the rank is in the graph, the better it is.
Exactly,
Better
because
it's selling.
the lower it is, like the lower it is, like you want to find the number one product, right? The number one product
Right.
will be number one, will be the fastest selling listing on Amazon, right?
Right.
So this is why you want this number to be as low as possible, and so the lower it is, the better it is. Okay, um,
Mhm.
so yeah, so that's the sales rank. That's the green light. Okay,
Right. Copy
does all that
that.
make sense so far?
Yeah, copy that. That makes perfect sense. I got you.
Perfect. All right. The next thing that we have is a pink line, and it is the buy box. Do you remember what the buy box is?
I think the buy box you were saying is the price that we can get the product at, or is it the price that it sells on Amazon?
Yeah,
No.
it's the price at which it sells on Amazon. So the buy
Mm.
box, what the buy box is this thing. Okay, so let me just select a size. Let's select large.
Hmm.
Okay, so let me find one that actually has a buy box. So this one has. Here we go. So this rider
Oh,
is what
that's
we
the
call
buy
the buy.
box.
That's what we call the buy box. Okay, so the reason why it's important is because, like, so if we were to buy the product by clicking here, so this is pretty much what the buy box is. It's this thing, and if
Sure.
you click, you buy from this seller. And so this is what we mean by saying winning the buy box, because sales happen at the buy box. Like, this is not the
Right.
cheapest price at which it's selling on Amazon right now. It's not. The cheapest price is 26.43. Okay, so if
Mm.
you wanted to dig, you could click here and buy the products for cheaper, right? But there's a
Right.
reason why Amazon gives you, like, Amazon has a whole algorithm that decides who win the buy box. It's not necessarily the cheapest price, okay? Because
Whoa.
there's a lot of things that goes into it. There's the price, that is one. There's the type of offers, which is FBM or FBA.
Right.
FBM is when you ship the product yourself. FBA is when you send the product to Amazon, they store it, and then they ship the product to the customer themselves. They favor
Mm.
FBA, right? So FBA is going to win the buy box at a way higher price than FBM. Always. Because Amazon has better capabilities to ship the products, it's better like customer satisfaction, whatever. So
Right.
of
Right.
course, like it's more important for them to get like to get the people to actually buy the products and get the better customer satisfaction than
Right.
actually like paying a little bit less, right? And there's a lot of other things that come into play, like the number of reviews that this seller has, where the stock is, because like
Right.
if I check this product right now, you may not, like if you check it at the same time as me, you may not get the same exact buy box because like you have stock that is closer to you that may be at a different price, right? Maybe a little bit more expensive, maybe a little bit cheaper. But if you like, and especially if you live on the West Coast, because if you live on the West Coast, we're definitely not going to get the product shipped from the same place, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
we're maybe not going to have the same offers, okay? Even if we check at the same time,
Wow.
because of that.
I didn't
So
know that.
this is what the buy box is, and so that pink line is the price at which the buy box is through time,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And I mean, the truth is that sometimes you can sell above the buy box, but like it's a good indication of what the
Mhm.
85% of the time it's a good indication of at what price the product is currently selling. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So that's the first thing that we're going to look at when we look at the price of an item, right? So this is what we're going to use to answer this first question that we have, which is at what price can we sell this product? We're going to use the data of the buy box to get an idea of that. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at what price it is currently selling, at what price it is currently selling, and we need to ask ourselves, is this price at which it is selling right now sustainable? Which means
Right.
if you buy this product today, will it still be at this price? Is it the price at which I can sell the product in 2 weeks from now? Yes or no? Because a mistake that a lot of people make is they may find this product, right, at this price, and they see that the product is selling at 35.20, right?
Mhm.
Right there, you see that peak on
Those are
Keepa.
big. Yeah.
The truth is that most of the time it's not selling at this price. So let's say that you're profitable at 35.20, but you're not profitable at this price right there at 28.74. It's
Mhm.
pretty likely that you're going to lose money on that product, right? Because you want to look at what price the items usually sell at. You want to look at the past to see if the price is on a price, like if there's a price hike somehow. Because like if the product has always been selling for $30, and today,
Right.
like, and for the last 2 weeks, it has been selling for $50, and you have no idea how. Do not expect to sell the product at $50 because the
Right.
price
Right.
is
Right.
probably going to go back at 30. I mean, you
It's
can
gonna
try to
drop.
say that 50, but it's not something that, especially at the beginning, you not really understand why there's a price hike on that product. It could be for a lot of reasons. It could be because like the supply chain is fucked up, right? Or
Right.
but you need to dig into that to figure out if it's really an opportunity to sell that product at this price or if it's not.
Right.
But most of the time, what I would recommend is that you just sell products that you can get profitably at the price at which it usually sells because you're
Mhm.
going to make way less mistake this way, especially if you just start. If you just start, you want to make sure that you make as little mistake as you can, and there's a ton of opportunities like these. Okay,
Okay.
that's how we use this. That's how we use the this pink line. However, sometimes you're going to run into some issues, such as on this one right there. Okay, on this one, you see that the pink line is not there a lot, and it disappears a lot, right?
Right.
There's a reason for that. It's because the buy box is what we call suppressed. Okay, so if you actually look right there, you see that there's no buy box. Okay, there's no featured offers available. There's no buy box
Right.
because the buy box is suppressed. What does that mean? It means that there's no buy box, and why is that? It's because Amazon deemed that the price is too high for the product. Which, by the way, sometimes it's really done. It's the same thing. It's an algorithm. Sometimes they decide, like sometimes what you would see is that 1 month and a half ago, Amazon was selling at this price. Now you jump on the listing yourself because Amazon is not there anymore. You sell at the exact same price as Amazon was selling, and they are suppressing the buy box and they are telling you that the price is too high. Okay, so
Wow.
it's fine. It's not because the buy box is suppressed that you're not going to get sales. It's going to impact it a little bit, but there's a lot of listings where you can make a ton of money where the buy box is suppressed. Okay, so it's not something to be scared of. So to actually get that data, there's two ways. So there's that thing that we call the new price. Okay, so you have the buy box, which is this pink line, and then you have the blue line right there that is the new price. Okay, so the new price, you will see that that listing has a price even when there's no buy box. Okay, because the new price is going to be the lowest offer that is currently on Amazon. Okay, the lowest price at which it is currently selling. And then you can split it in two. You have the new third party price, the new FBA price. So this is the price for FBA offers, okay, which is those small triangles. And then you have the price for FBM offers, which are these small squares, right? So Usually, I don't really turn the new third-party FBM. I always turn the new third-party FBA because what you would see sometimes on really fast listings, let me find one. On listings that sells really, really fast, you would see that Keepa reports that, here we go, on this one, actually. You would see that Keepa reports that the product is selling at, for example, you see that right there, like, it's selling at 23.50, right? And
Right.
Keepa says that, yeah, you see the buy box is at, if we zoom in, the buy box is at 25.29, right? And like actually at 23.50. But you would see that there are some triangles at $27, right? And even more than that, like it's probably just a guy that tanked the price. So it's not going to last long, right? Because usually you can sell this at like 28.50, 29, right? But like the lowest offer right now is 27, okay, from this guy right there. And if you were to just trust the buy box, you would not know that you can actually sell this product at $29.99 from time to time, $28.78. So because like the lowest offer, like the buy box is just the FBM price. And if you look, right next to where I have my mouse, you see the price, $25.29 for the buy box, and you see FBM right next to the name of the seller.
$29.99, yeah.
Right? So don't worry about that. If you see that it's just for FBM, check the price, especially on fast selling listings. Check those small triangles and try to figure out at what prices it's actually selling. Right? That's how you're going to that's what you can do regarding this. Okay, so that's the next thing. So just so you know, you have the buy box and then you have the new price. Okay. By the way, sometimes the new price will not give you the exact price because the new price has been bugging out for a little while. And what the buy box price will give you when the buy box is suppressed is it will not actually give you the price at which the lowest offer is, but it will give you the MSRP for the product for whatever reason. The MSRP is. Do you understand what the MSRP is?
Yeah, manufacturer retailed price.
Yeah, suggested price. Exactly. So that's the price at which the brand says that this product should be sold. For whatever reason, sometimes Keepa report this price instead of the new price, so you should always dig. You go right there to data, you go to offers, let it load. There we go. You go to offer, you sort by price, and you see if the lowest price FBA, so you would see prime right there in this column. You check if it's actually that price, right? So right there it's 32.64, which is a good price, right? So yeah, so that's that. That's regarding the new price, right? So
okay, I got a question. I don't know if I'm sorry I keep cutting in, but it's just I really want to. So the new price, one more time, is basically the lowest price that you can get the product new from an FBA seller. Is that it?
Not necessarily for an FBA seller. From any listing, if we just talk about the new price. But if you dig deeper, you see that you have two things right below it. You have so this is the new price, the blue line. Then you have the new third-party FBA, which is those small triangles, and the new third-party FBM, which is those blue squares, right? And you can see that there's a gap in between the two because FBA is always higher than FBM, right?
Of course. So trying to get the margins.
Yeah, so that's all we have so far. Okay, so we have on this, and this is mostly what we're going to look at. We're not going to look at the use price, at the warehouse deal, at all those bullshit. This is all the information that we need to get from this first graph, okay, on top, okay, which is the buy box price, the new price. I mean, the buy box price, if we don't have the buy box price, the new price, and then the new price FBA, the new price FBM. That's all we're going to use to figure out at which price we can actually sell that product.
Okay, and so where does it come into the prime? So when you were showing me the list of the listings and you showed prime, that means that's the cheapest they can get it. Not the cheapest because it was cheaper than $32.99. Right?
Okay, so the prime badge, badge is for the FBA. You have the prime badge. The prime badge is for FBA offers, and no, it's not the cheapest, but it's this one would be the cheapest FBA listings, which means that it's FBA offers that are shipped by Amazon. Okay.
Okay, and whereas the ones above, those are FBM.
Exactly.
Where they ship it themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
But Wow, that's dope.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So that's regarding this first graph. Okay, we're going to use it to figure out
Mhm,
how fast it's selling and to figure out at what price we can use. And this is how we are going to do this. Okay,
mhm, mhm.
and to figure out how fast something is selling, we're going to do other things that we are going to get into. Okay, we're going to get into it right now. Okay, so the second graph that you have right there, you have more information on the sales rank, right, which we don't care about because we have the sales rank right here. What we care
Correct.
about mainly on this one is this gold line. Okay, this
Mm.
gold line, and it's not available for every product, but for every product for which it's available, it's the number of time it's sold in the last 30 days. Okay, so
Oh.
right there, so it was on February 23rd. On February 23rd, for this listing, for the last
Mhm.
30 days, it sold 2,000 times. Okay,
Wow.
you
Yeah.
can see how fast like how fast it's selling and how it evolves through time. You see that in December it was selling way faster. It was selling 7,000, right?
Wow.
Uh,
Mhm,
like this is what and it's going to be the next step. It's going to best information that you
mhm.
have on how fast something is selling. Okay,
Right.
to be the best information that you're going to get on that. But sometimes it's not available. So what you want to do is you want to dig into the data tab. Okay, so you go to data right there. You go to offers, and what you can do is you have the stock levels of a lot of sellers. Keep in mind, sometimes people hide their stock. You can hide your stock by setting a maximum order quantity, and then you will not have this information. But you can see that, for
Wow.
example, if this guy, like if this is decreasing, is this guy's stock is decreasing, we can pretty much figure out how fast he's selling, right? By
Correct.
actually
Correct.
counting, like if on January 1st he had 200 in stock, and January 2nd he got 175, it means that he sold 25 units, right?
Right.
It's a simplification because there's things that it could be inventory that moves from one fulfillment center to another one, things that get in stock
Right.
then get out of stock then get back in stock. um Depends, and especially if it's an FBM offer, you need to know that you can edit your stock manually, so it's not going to be as accurate. But if you see something like this for an FBA offer, and if it looks steady enough like this, right, it looks steady, you can figure out how fast it's selling. So in between January 27th to February 3rd, he sold like
6,
seven units.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6, 7 units. So yeah, I don't know. My math is probably not correct. Let me see.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
53
five,
minus 40.
five, whatever. Yeah, so you sold 5 units. So this is one way that you can use to actually determine that. It's going to be the first thing. I'd rather use an FBA offer, especially if I want to sell FBA. So right there, for example, in between this time, you can
Wow.
see that it's pretty steady, right? So he went from 969 in stock to
400.
412 at this time. Okay, like right there, it probably replanned a little bit, or it's probably
Yeah.
like I don't know. It could be a lot of things, but like we can see that it's selling kind of fast, right? So we can get an
Right.
idea
And
of
that's
how
not
fast
even
it's
like
selling
2 weeks.
building
That's
it
not
up.
even a week.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Wow.
the process, right? I'm just going through the process quickly. You can see that Yasmani here is hiding his stock. Okay, he keeps his stock as 5, right? So yeah. But just to get like just to show you, this is pretty much how you do it. So that's the second way. The third way, if it's a product that has variation like this, what you need to understand is that what I showed you with Jungle Scout to get the estimation based on the sales rank, right?
Right.
What I
Right.
showed you is that it's going to give you an estimation because the sales rank is global. For if you have one listing with multiple variations, so multiple size, multiple color, it's going to be the number of sales. Like the sales rank is going to be for all of these together.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
It's the
you really need
average.
to figure out if you need to dig deeper and you don't have that data. You don't have that data from right here from this gold line. If you don't have that data, what you're going to need to and you cannot get real. I mean, you cannot have a clear ID from here. Okay, this is
Yeah.
always my second best option. Okay, if you cannot
Yeah.
get the data from here, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the variation tab. Okay,
Hmm.
go to the
Hmm.
variation tab right here, and you're going to get data on every single variation. Okay, so no, there's a tip, there's a trick that you can use
Hmm.
to figure out how many of the like how much of the sales of the whole listing of variations get. Okay, the trick is simple. This listing, the whole listing has 2,668 ratings, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So what we want to figure out is how many ratings that the specific variation that we want to sell has, and we're going to look at how big of a percentage it represents compared to the whole listing. And for example, if this listing get 20% of the
Mhm.
ratings on that,
Mhm.
if this variation get 20% of the ratings of that specific listing, we know that it probably like there's a big chance that they
It's
get
so
20% of the
perfect.
sales, right?
Right, right.
It makes sense, right? So to get that information, you go to the variations tab, scroll
Ah,
right there, and you have the
let's see
ratings.
the
And this one is
room.
27.14% of all the ratings on this listing. And so
Almost
you can assume that it sells 27% of the time. So let's say that it
right.
was like the whole thing was like 1,000 sales a month for the whole based on the sales rank.
That
Okay.
one's gonna be 270.
Yeah, exactly correct. However,
Yo, Chris, okay, I got a question. I don't want to
right.
interrupt. I want to make sure I get that. That makes so much sense. So basically, to check a product that has multiple variations, multiple types, colors, sizes, etc., you want to look at the reviews to see how much of that specific product is selling.
Exactly. However, if you have this data right here, like the gold line, that's
You
going to be
don't
for
need
that
to.
specific variation, so you can trust it. If you have this
Okay.
data, you're golden. That's it. You don't need anything else. If you
Right.
don't, then that's when you need to actually dig deeper. Okay, you need to dig deeper
Right.
by getting the estimation from like some tool like Jungle Scout with the sales rank, right?
Yeah.
Or what you can do, I mean, you need to do that, right? And like
Right.
it's going to be more or less correct. In my experience, Jungle Scout is the the best way to get an estimation. Then what you can also do is go to the data tab, offers, look at the stock of other people on that variation or on that
Right.
listing. And then if it's a listing with variation, you get the estimation, right? If you get the estimation, you get the percentage of reviews from that specific variation. And
Mhm.
from that, you can infer how much, how fast it sells. So that's how you're going to get an idea of that. However, like it's tricky because sometimes what you would see is that a variation sold a ton, like sold a shit ton in the past, right?
Mhm.
And then you see that yeah, it got like 30% of the reviews, but it hasn't been getting reviews for 2 years. So
Oh,
maybe it sold fast in the past, but right now, like yeah, it's not like
that
so.
didn't
You always
say
want to make sure that it's actually
it.
increasing. You see this right here, rating history, this graph. You want to make
Right.
sure that it's still increasing, right? Which it is right there.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to see the opposite. You're going to see that a specific variation as like just 0.01% of the reviews, for example.
Right.
But if you look, that's the one that right now is increasing the fastest, right? So
Mm.
it's not always black and white. You always want to dig a little bit deeper to understand the numbers because the numbers by themselves are not going to like, and it's going to be true like whenever you analyze data in this business, right? You want to always dig a little bit deeper to see if the numbers, if the number actually makes sense, if the number like check out, and if it's actually like oh it has been going on historically, right? Is it still increasing or is it stalling? Or is it low as a percentage, but is it actually increasing faster than everything else? If it's the
Mhm.
case, then because like if we look at this one went from 4,139 from April
Right.
16 to 4,173, right? So like
Mhm.
let's say 40 new reviews, right?
Correct.
If you look at this one, it only got 5% of the reviews, but for the same time frame, it went from 898.
To
Yeah, so kind of
900.
it's more like
Similar.
half of this, right? So this is
Right.
selling
Right.
half as fast. Not really because if you were to look at the number, it would be like one fifth
Right.
of this, right? Because it's 5%, 27%, close to 1/6, but actually it's like probably just half, right? So that's all you need to put numbers in context. Does that make sense?
So yeah, it does make sense. So to review that last point, the logic behind that is that if someone is taking the time to do a review after buying the product, it's because they like the product.
No, not necessarily.
Or
Like people are going to
it's
put
just to
reviews
say,
anyways.
oh, or it's just to say,
Yeah.
oh, this person bought this product. It's just a combo.
Exactly, because like if something is selling, it's going to get reviews. Whether it is bad reviews, whether it is good reviews,
Correct,
I mean, yeah,
correct.
we care. But I was going to say we don't care. But like, yeah, at this point, we
Right,
don't care. What you want to figure out is like how fast it's selling. You know that like there's a specific percentage of sellers on Amazon that are going to leave reviews. Okay.
right.
Okay.
Exactly. That's what I was
So
gonna say
based on
anyway.
that,
Everybody
if
don't do
something
that.
gets reviews,
Right,
it means that it's selling, right? If people rate the product, it means that it's selling. So the faster it gets ratings, the faster it
mhm,
sells. The more ratings it gets in a specific time frame, the more it sells. Because if it's not selling, it's not going to get reviews. If it's
right.
selling 1,000 times a month, it's going to get a few reviews, right? And it's a way to get an estimation. Does that make
That
sense?
makes perfect sense. Yeah, it does, man. You explained a lot of shit to me with this keeper shit. I was kind of scared of it at first, but I'm glad we did this right now. I ain't gonna lie. Cause I was
It's
like,
easy,
bro, there's
man.
so many graphs, there's all this data. What the fuck am I looking at? But now I get
Yeah,
it. I get it.
yeah. It's easy, right? Um,
Yeah, dude.
but yeah. So that's how you figure out how fast it is actually sick. You know what? Maybe I should release this video, like this coaching session, as a free video on YouTube because like I will
Man,
actually
this
break it
would
down
be a
really well.
great one. I swear to God, bro.
Yeah.
This would be a great video because
Yeah. So if you're on
you really
YouTube, I
want
don't know
to
if it's going to be on YouTube, this camera. If you're on YouTube, hi. Uh, but
Nah,
yeah,
this is a great one. So I think what I need to really do this week, now that I have a better idea of kind of how to source, like I think I just need to like just come up source like 5 products or something to you.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
wait,
can
we're
kind
not
of
done because there's one more thing. Like remember, there's one more thing. There's one more thing that we want
yeah.
to look at, right?
Uh,
It's if we are actually going to get into some troubles for selling this product. Okay. And
oh.
I mean, there's
I saw the post in the chat in the community about like the copyright, like basically the lawyer sent something
yeah,
deceased or whatever.
yeah, season desist. Yeah. I mean, the main thing that you want to pay attention to is if there's that thing that we call IP complaints, right? So an IP complaint
Okay.
is when a brand gives you a complaint to actually remove you from the listing. So to be 100% clear, the brands are not supposed to do that because this is not what IP complaints are supposed to be used for. IP complaints
Mhm.
are supposed to be used whenever somebody misused the IP of a brand, right? Which is not
Right.
what they use it for. They use it to remove people that are on their listing, and Amazon allows that, right? Which is
Mhm.
bullshit, by the way.
Right.
But they are going to use that, and there's nothing that you can do for it, right? So one of the brands that actually got this for is my protein. At one point, I was selling a ton of it, right? And you're
Mhm.
going to see, to be honest, you're going to see on listings that IP complaints, you're going to see something similar to something that happened on this listing, but it did not happen for the same reason. Okay, so
Mhm.
you're going to see stuff like this. You see like a sharp decline because the last line that we haven't talked about is this one, the blue one, right there.
Mhm.
That is the
Mhm.
new of account, which is the number of people that are on that listing. Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
Mhm.
So when a brand IP complains, like a clear sign that they do is whenever you see a cliff like this on this graph, right? This is not
Mhm.
what happens right. What happened right there? What happened with Nike is that a lot of sellers got restricted in Nike and cannot sell Nike anymore. For what, like Amazon is doing some bullshit, right? So whenever you see something like this, usually it's an IP complaint. It's not the case here, but like this is what happens because like the brands remove sellers from the listing. Okay, and this is like a clear sign that it happens. But sometimes you would not see it this way. Sometimes it's more gradual, right? And you have tools. You have tools like this that is called IP alert that will actually like tell you when a brand is known to do IP complaints. But
Mhm.
first of all, sometimes there are some false positive. And second, um, what happens sometimes is that there's no history of IP complaints. Like it's not reported on the tool, but the brands still do IP complaints. Okay, so how can you figure that out?
Mhm.
You can figure that out by actually looking at. You go to the data. First of all, if you see a buy box that is flat like this, like super flat, it's a red flag. Okay, that's going to be the first thing.
Mhm.
It's a red flag because it means that it's probably the brand selling, or it could,
Directly.
yeah,
Right.
it's either the brand selling. And if the brand is selling, oh, by the way, if the brand has sold in the past on a listing, stay away because like there's a big chance, there's a huge chance that if they sold on the past, they're going to sell again, or it could be that they gave up right on Amazon, but that they're going to
Mhm.
sell again. And when they
Mhm.
decide to sell again, they're going to cut you off. They're going to remove you from the listing. And there's always a risk. It's going to be a risk for every brand. And the reason why you want to avoid that, by the way, is because when you get IP complaints, it can lead you to get your account suspended, right? And have to submit shit, all that stuff. It's an headache, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so to figure out if you're going to get into some troubles, first of all, look at this. Okay, look at the new of account. Look if there's a sharp decline. Look in the past, right there, and so you can see right there. You see this right there?
Mhm. Yeah,
IP
I'm
complaint,
sorry.
100%. And what you see usually on stuff like this, whenever that happens, then you get like a time where there's nobody selling on that listing, and then what you get is you get the guy that is actually authorized, which is like this guy, AAA Midwest Sellers, was the authorized seller for my protein, but now they are selling themselves, right? Um,
Oh.
and you would see stuff like that. So that's what you want to pay attention to. the other thing that you want to pay attention to is you can go to the buy box statistics and figure out like who's getting the buy box. And if you see that there's one guy getting like 98% of the buy box,
Oh wow.
95, it's tricky. So they're getting 95 because they own the brand, right? And there's it's only them that sells, and the other 5% is whenever they run out of stock, right? But then what you want to do is check the name of the seller. Try to Google them because sometimes you're going to see that it's huge brand management companies, and so when it's brand management companies that sell these brands, you don't want to compete with them. And the next thing that you want to figure out is, especially when you start, is you want to look at how much of the buy box they win and the number of reviews they have. Because if they have 100,000 reviews, you know that it's a huge company, you are going to struggle to compete against them, right?
Right.
You can win the
100%.
buy box, but it's a lot of work and they can undercut you because they probably get the products for way cheaper than you do. And if they have a lot of reviews, they have direct relationship with the brand, with like wholesalers. Usually they need to obey MAP pricing policies, which is you cannot sell below that price. And if you actually undercut them, they're going to be pissed, right? Because they're going to say, hey, look, brand, whatever, Mr. Brand, Mr. Nike, whatever, right? And by the way, this doesn't happen on Nike, but it's just to tell you how it works, right? They're going to say, hey, look, Nike, I'm buying your products. You have minimum pricing policy. I cannot sell under that price. You have 5 sellers on that listing that sell below that price. You need to clean your listings, right? And so they're going to send
Mm.
IP complaints, they're going to remove you. So that's that just to give you an idea of how it works and how you want to use Keepa. That's what you want to use Keepa for. Okay, that's all you're going to use it. That's all the data that you need. That's all you need to look at. Okay. By the
So I
way,
got a question. I got a
let me
question
let
in
me just say
regard.
this quickly on the new off account. The new off
Yeah.
account right there is going to also help you figure out how fast the product is selling, right? Because if the new off account, to get back to the second question that we were answering, right?
Mhm.
Because if the new off account goes down with time. So right there, it would be a bad example, but like, um, let's take this right there. If you see that over time, the new account goes up and then it goes down, then it goes up again, then it goes down like this, we know that it's selling, right? Because it's how to say that, like, it's natural actions. Like you see that it's not something that the brand removed sellers, whatever. It's just people selling out, getting in stock, selling out, people getting in stock,
Right.
selling out, right? So that's how you can actually get an idea of something is selling as well. That's another sign. That's another indication that you can get that something is selling. Does that make sense?
That does make sense, actually. 100%. Like if it's up and down, yeah, I get it. I definitely get it.
Mm.
Um, my question I wanted to ask you to kind of wrap things up about it was, damn, what was I gonna say? Uh, as far as the IP thing, um, is it better to always kind of modify your prices? Like now, I mean, obviously the thing is you obviously want to, make profit, but it's like you don't want to get blacklisted either and have your listing
No, you're going to be
removed.
good. As long as you stay on products where, if you do arbitrage, you don't want to be on products where brands have strong relationships with seller or with distributors that sell on Amazon, right? But like like you're going to be fine. Like I'm telling you, you're going to be fine. Something more advanced, like you're not going to deal with that too much, anyways. So that's not something that should be worried about right now.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, man, I feel real good about this now that I know a little bit more about how to read the product now. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like before, I was seeing how you were sourcing and how you would respond to everybody. I'm like, oh, what the hell what are they talking about? You know what I'm saying? But I think now I have a clear idea of how to go
Yeah.
about it. I think
Hmm.
the next thing I really just need to tap into is just the different ways of trying to get the product at a good price, and then
Hmm.
eventually like how to how to start the process of shipping or getting it to Amazon, etc.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just work on trying to source some products this week, and then maybe
Mhm.
next we could kind of figure out like how we should implement it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Perfect, man.
Let's do that. I
Perfect.
appreciate you,
All right.
man. I appreciate